outsized number of these days. There are the Lincoln-Douglas debates of 1858, ranked in the same league with the Federalist-Anti-Federalist contest over the Constitution. There is Lincoln's victory in the election of 1860, which triggered the Civil War. Of all our wars, the most costly in American lives and most profound in its consequences. In the world-altering year of 1863, Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation and delivered the Gettysburg Address. The year 1865 brought at least 4 historic events: the passage of the 13th Amendment, Lincoln's Second Inaugural Address, and the victory of the Union, followed quickly by Lincoln's assassination. Seen in retrospect, his deeds, speeches, and death are unequaled in their entwinement with the fate of the nation. To me, it seems significant that Lincoln himself sought to understand the United States through its chronological milestones. On his analysis, 3 punctuation points stood out: 1787, the date of the writing of the Constitution; 1776, the date of the nation's Declaration of Independence; and 1619, the date of the beginning of slavery on the North American continent. I list them in reverse order because that is the layered sequence through which Lincoln conceptualized the meaning of America over time. His thinking about these landmarks can be traced in 3 speeches: the Lyceum Address, the Gettysburg Address, and the Second Inaugural. 2 of these are his best-known expressions. The other is, for most, a much less familiar performance, dating back a quarter-century before his presidency, the work of a second-term Illinois state legislator who was all of 28 years old. Each of these speeches is keyed to one of the foundational dates, perhaps as befitted a young politician who had taken an oath to support the U.S. and Illinois constitutions. The Lyceum Address grounds itself in 1787, the date associated with the original form of our government and our political institutions, which have been maintained, Lincoln says, for more than 50 years. Worried about growing lawlessness, mob action, and the breakdown of democracy, Lincoln calls upon citizens to swear a blood oath to the support of the Constitution and laws. Lincoln's textual horizon shifts fairly dramatically in the 1850s, beginning with his 1852 eulogy on Henry Clay, which opens on the 4th day of July, 1776, and includes an attack on John C. Calhoun as the first American of any note who, for the sake of perpetuating slavery, began to assail and to ridicule the declaration that all men are created free and equal. As the repudiators of the principle of equality grew in number and strength, Lincoln set about demonstrating their error. Throughout that contentious decade, Lincoln not only appeals to the Declaration, but presents interpretations of it in nearly every major speech. Only by readopting the Declaration could the challenge posed by slavery's expansion be met. Lincoln's decade of reflection on the meaning of the nation's self-evident truths reaches its culmination in the Gettysburg Address, whose touchstone is clearly that charter from 77 years ago. Post-Gettysburg, Lincoln makes no further statements about the Declaration. His thoughts on the founding principles had there achieved their final form. Other dilemmas still loomed, however. Although Lincoln had been addressing slavery as a matter of public policy since 1837, it is the Second Inaugural that deserves to be considered his 1619 address. Lincoln's reference to the bondman's 250 years of unrequited toil in the penultimate sentence returns one almost exactly to the date of the arrival of the first slaves on American shores. Acknowledgement of the significance of this date, a date that precedes by more than a century and a half the nation's founding, did not occur for the first time in 2019 as a result of the 1619 project of the New York Times. Historians like William Grimshaw, whom Lincoln read as a youngster, had highlighted both the far-reaching effects of 1619